Good morning, everyone. Good morning, good morning. So, a little bit of a pick-me-up stream here since the markets today obviously didn't really do what most of us spot holders would have liked it to do, but that's okay. Because with Meteora, we are able to still find some plays. Not that one. We're able to still find some plays. I was in some quick in and out ones earlier today. Let me make sure I have everything pulled up correctly. So this stream, we are actually going to go over a few things. We can go into a few questions I had gotten that I figured I would cover. For example, I had someone in my chat ask me, let me see here. This guy's wondering, I watched a video on how stuff like this works. I'm still confused. Don't know if it needs practice. Does Meteora have an app or is it available on search engines? What's up, guys? What's up, Strikeo? It's been a while. So we can go into some basic DLMM stuff, but I'm going to show you what I'm looking into right now. So this is kind of, I wouldn't rate this as an A+ play. I'm actually in a pool for WAGMI. I'm in a pool for WAGMI right now. We can go ahead and look at some stuff. So WAGMI is doing okay. Obviously, I have such a wide range on it. I'm really not in any trouble yet. As you can see, I have about $57 in the pool right now. How's Matt going? It's good. As you can see, right, I have around $16 in fees. I only have 0.08 in a permanent loss and around 0.1. So we are still good on that. It's not the best return yet, but we are going to go ahead and see what happens. And let me go to some of the plays we happened to stumble upon today. We're actually going to look at Axiom for some of these, and I know you guys always know that I usually use Deck Screener, but for the sake of order flow, and I have some tracked wallets that I do like to see if I'm playing these new pairs. Like I said, I'm trying something new. I don't know if you guys have seen my post, but the past which I say 3 or 4 months, I've been trying to do a lot of longer term pools. I've been trying to find good memes and stay in them, and it was working for a very long time. But as you know, a lot of older coins got cooked on the soul drop. So I'm going ahead and what's up, man? Great stream. What's up, MBZ? Thank you for that. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and show you maybe some of the strategies I might use on new pairs. I'm going to see how long I can go without a loss. And TikTok chat, what's up, Chris? Thank you, bro. I'm going to try to keep an eye more on the YouTube channel as we are going live on the LP Army YouTube. If you guys want to go ahead, drop a like, give them a subscribe. That would mean the world to me. They are always super, super generous to host me, so I appreciate that. Anyways, I'm going to go into... Actually, we're going to go ahead. I'm going to show you the P&Ls we had from today, and I'm actually going to let everyone know that we're live. Sorry, I'm all over the place, but we're gonna nail it down and... right now, come say hi. At Meteora.he, at Matt LP Army. Perfect. Okay. So, as you can see from the P&Ls from today, I posted I was in True. I was also in Rocket. So, like I said, these aren't my normal plays. South Park printing. I am out of range on it now. I didn't make that much, but I've been seeing the price action. The price action on it is very, very good. I probably could have gone tighter range, but you know me. I'm always just trying to be very, very careful. Anyways, going back to the initial point. Huh. I guess it's this one. This doesn't make sense. I don't see it. Am I missing something here? Oh no, this is it. It's just not the right, why is it showing me none of them that have a lot of volume though? I don't understand. Here, we're gonna copy the CA and then paste it and see what it gives us. Okay, we found it. So, yes, I traded it. It was like 0.1. But anyways, we're going to go actually to the 5 second. That might clean it up a little bit. So this really wasn't, you know, the safest play ever. But you have to keep in mind, I started pooling it. Oh, fuck, I wish I remembered. Somewhere around here. But anyways, I saw that it bonded very quickly, right? It bonded back here. And instantly it was getting like 300 or 400k. I was looking to DAMM it, but then I saw someone made a pool, so I partook in this for a little bit. I'm really trying to remember what had happened at the very beginning. Maybe I need to go back to 1 second to jog my memory. Sorry, guys. Don't remember. Oh, it was back here. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. So, I top blasted 0.1 here. I top blasted 0.1 back here on this account, just for fun, just in case, because I actually ended up setting up a pool from here to here. It was about an 87% range, if I remember correctly. So it was something like here to... Sorry, guys. I'm choking. I'm choking the stream. Right here. I think the bottom of my range was like literally just near the bottom. So keep in mind, this is my range, right? These bins are moving super fast. When you're in a very, very volatile early pair DLMM, you have to be very, very careful because these things can go to zero very, very quickly. Like, do you see? These are seconds where it's rugging, where I would just have taken a loss. So anyways, the bid ask ended up working. I was in it for this whole time. I was able to generate a good amount of fees here. Once it got on this pump, I was debating getting out here actually, and then it came back down. Got one more pump with a ton of volume, as you can see, and then I just exited, got out. I actually sold basically the top, and I got very lucky, as if I had stayed in maybe 30 or 40 seconds longer, you could see what would have happened. Now going back to True, this was an okay meme. Like I said, these pairs... Sorry guys, I'm not looking at the chat. Should we watch on TikTok or YouTube? Up to you, Chris. If you want to support the Met channel, feel free to go to the YouTube. I'm gonna definitely, if you're typing in there, I would definitely look at the chat more. But anyways, going back to True and Adam. This thing obviously went to zero, but there was a narrative. It wasn't great. So sorry. My initial point was keep in mind that these new pairs, maybe one of them comes up that I consider A+, but none of these tokens are even close to something that I would multi-day pool. I'm always using a DLMM for 1 to 10 mil market caps. Is that correct? Yes, sometimes. Like, that was what I was mostly doing. A lot of the coins that I would mostly pool that were a lot longer term would be between there. Maybe the lowest on a multi-day is like 600k market cap. But that's not really a metric I use as much anymore, because when you are in coins that are maybe higher market cap, they're going to be more stable, right? But they're not going to print as much as a little bit lower cap. So I try not to judge too much on market cap. You are right. Most of them are between, I would say, like 600k to 2 mil, 3 mil, 4 mil ish. But as of recently, some of those coins actually just haven't been doing quite as well. I'm trying to think of some good longer term positions. Troll is a very high market cap token that I've been in for a very, very long time. As you can see, this is probably over 2 months. So, wow, I'm very, very close to being out of range. Very, very close. This is a position I've had open for 2 months, so I've made a good bit in fees, but As you can see, the fee generation on this pool isn't super high, so it's like, I always judge things in risk reward, right? Like, how good is the fee generation? How strong is the token? If it's a very good token that I believe in, okay, I'm fine with not as good fee generation. So it's like kind of like a balancing act of finding what tokens you want to be in that are good and have solid fundamentals and that have good fee generation. So I'm trying to think of maybe a coin that Santa will index Bleedo in Razor's chat. This is one coin that they've been in for a long time. This, we'll pull up the chart actually. This coin is a very steady printer, and it has good volume, it has good movement. This is something that you can, this is a good example of a coin around 3 mil that is still doing good in fees and has good survivability. DLMM is usually going to be the method I use. DAMM, I'm not sure if you know the use case for it, but for example, if we're looking at a new pair, yeah, that's not good. I'm going to try to find a new pair that you might look for a DAMM on. So if this thing bonds, for example, right? A DAMM is only going to be viable. You can only open one once it migrates, right? So if this thing goes to 68K and migrates, this is going to be a good one. We want something in a DAMM that is A, strong as a token, right, on graduation, and we want something that's doing a lot of volume. I know you can't see this. This says 55K. If for some reason, I'm not saying this is going to do it, this is just a random coin I'm looking at, but let's say this thing goes to, it migrates, it has maybe 100K volume on migration, it comes out of migration, it's getting like a lot of volume, like within 1 minute it has 200K, right? That's when you want to open a DAMM. On graduation, if you can get into something that you know is going to have, or you think is going to have a lot of volume and is strong, you want to open a DAMM as quick as possible, because it's going to take advantage of all of those all of that order flow coming in, right? Because DAMMs, I'm not 100% sure about this, but I'm pretty sure it works in some way. It takes advantage of MEV transactions, right? And when the price is going up and down super heavily on the chart, you know what I'm saying? Like when it wicks up super hard, comes back down, and there's just increasing volume over here. Like imagine this volume, how it's steady right here. Let's say it starts popping off, right? It starts like going like this or something like that. That's when a DAMM is very good risk reward. But after that, after the first hour, if the volume is fading, it's usually more beneficial to be in a DLMM from my experience. Thank you, Chris. Sorry, TikTok chat. I'm trying to pay attention to the YouTube. But anyways, going back to True. Sorry, I never got to my main point. So Adam and True had a PvP today, kind of. It wasn't a very good meme, right? Biggest looks maxing trend since mewing is happening on TikTok right now. Basically, True Adam is greater than Giga Chad. Just because of the fact that True Adam is not a better term than Giga Chad is why I wasn't very confident on this play. But it was getting a ton of volume. It was PvPing, right? Adam was the one I didn't play. True was the one that I played. This one. So you can see how this one actually ended up rugging to 0. But this was the higher market cap one. This was the higher market cap one and the stronger one at the beginning. So I'm trying to remember. I think I ended up playing it from about here. Here, I guess we can draw a box is better. So I ended up playing it from maybe here to here. Was about my range. The bottom of my range was like 27K. So on these tokens, do you see how I am going very wide? It's because you really have to on these new pairs, right? You don't want this thing could have rugged to 7K and I could have gotten completely wrecked. But you're really not gonna on something that is 144K, somewhere around here. you really don't want to set any range higher than 40K unless for some reason you're super confident. So I really don't like telling people, and like I don't necessarily like going over these plays because I'm still hesitant on them. I'm still this is the first time I've touched new pairs in a while, playing DLMMs on them. So I think you're gonna have to give me like another week or a few weeks for me to see if I can actually do this without taking outsized losses, because as you can see, I did make some money today on these in a pretty short period of time, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it long term, stack the wins and not take a big loss. So it's yet to be seen. But anyways, that's how I would play them. And as you can see, I was in this for a long time. I actually stayed in all the way down to here, got very close to the bottom of my range, very close. But it ended up coming up. I wish I knew what I sold for. I hate to just say that I'm selling the tops of a lot of these, but I think today I actually did manage to sell near the top. I think I ended up getting out right here or right here. But that's one where I got the spike, got out. On to the next one. Don't you lose money when price goes down like that, even with fees? So, yes. For example, I think I'd said in the reply here, not on this one. I'll show you what I responded to someone with. TBH, it goes against my strategy the past few months. See, he says bullish. Why this token? I said, to be honest, it goes against my strategy the past few months. I've been multi-day LPing things, mostly coins that I deem good. I just decided to try some new pairs. This one had okay narrative. I saw it as being PvP'd pretty heavily, so that gave me a little bit of confidence for survivability. But honestly, the risk reward was sketch on it. I said I was probably down about minus 0.6 or 0.7 SOL on this one at that point. So if you can see my P&L, 120 is like what, 0.7 SOL roughly, maybe 0.6, something like that. So I was down about the amount that I made. The only reason I was able to get out is because of the spike. So it wasn't really like risk reward. It wasn't the best play. It ended up working out. I tried a DLMM on the way down, and it seems like I'm always losing money. So how wide, the first thing I want to ask you is, how wide are you making your ranges? Because it's really going to help you out if you make wider ranges than you think you need to. Are you just going with the default pool? Because I don't know if people don't know this, but the Meteora has introduced a feature where when you are opening a pool, right, usually the default position size is going to be 70 bins, and if you're in a 100 bin pool, this is going to only cover minus 49%. So you need to adjust this range down here about 30 bins. 30 bins is pretty tight. That's pretty tight. 10% is pretty tight for me. If you see what kind of ranges I'm putting on, right, full size for me on a bid ask or spot. Okay, so I would recommend you just, and obviously not financial advice. Anything I say is not a buy or sell recommendation. I am not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. But I would say probably go a little bit wider. Go a little bit wider on your ranges, because it's better to go wider and get a feel for how the coin is moving and how the fees are moving, because minus 10% really is nothing. Especially, I'm not sure what kind of coins you're playing, but like on something like this, like minus 10% is nothing. You know what I mean? And minus 10% on this is nothing. So you can see I'm going like very wide. Here, I'm going to show you something real quick. Like on this, assuming this is the range I made on this, I'm going to show you how freaking wide I went. But yeah, bid ask is fine. I always go some hybrid of bid ask. For example, I probably would not go 1 SOL spot, 1 SOL bid ask for a total of 2 SOL in a position. That's a little bit too heavy being on spot for me. So bid ask is going to be what I use 99% of the time. But you have to keep in mind, for example, I'm going to show you something. I'm actually just going to set up a range on this, for example, right? So right here, this is easier to make a wide range on because it's a higher bin step pool. you don't really have to worry about this, but you can understand that lower bin step means you're going to get a tighter range for how many bins there are, right? Like in a 250 bin step pool like we're in right now, a full 70 bin range, default range, is going to be minus 81%. When you go to a pool that has 100 bin step, for example, you're going to see that it only covers minus 49%. So you have to keep in mind that just because it's giving you this default range doesn't mean you can't change it, right? Like if I wanted, I probably wouldn't go in full size here. You see how I went in 5 soul here? In turn, I would go, right, 1 soul spot, make it minus 85%. I've gotten rec going 85%. I've still gotten rec going 85%. So even though it seems very low, keep in mind it's always better to have a better cushion at the bottom. But if you wanted to get a little bit fancy, you could go minus 78%, minus 75%. Keep in mind that minus 75% is 2 minus 50% moves. Minus 87% is 3 50% down moves. So the difference between minus 87% and minus 75% is another 50%. You have to keep that in mind. So anyways, right, I'm going to make my range minus 85%, add liquidity. And then if I'm planning on making a 5 soul position, that's just my usual size when I'm going minus 85%. After I go 1 soul, I usually layer it mostly bid ask, right? I open 1 soul spot, now I'm adding in 4 soul on top of it, and that's how you can get hybrid. You can go, like, if you're more confident, if you're confident this thing is just going to hang around at the top of your range and come back up, you can go more in the spot range, but as you can see in most of my positions, I'm going to go mainly bid ask. So, sorry, that was a long drawn out. Okay, 1 second. I'm going to try to read these comments. I'm going to get to everyone. Do you prefer bid ask or spot? Yes. When I set the min price, it seems like there are no bins at the minimum price. I'm not sure how to explain it. So your minimum price, we're going to close this. When I set the min price, okay, we're going to go to min price. Walk me through what you're saying. When you're at min price, it seems like there are no bins at the min price. So here, for example, what do you mean there's no bins at the min price? If a coin, I'm going to take an intermission for, why did it say your account is banned? It shouldn't have, unless it was a fake account that's impersonating me. Hey, this guy says, how do you find out more information about meme coins? So you can look at my page. I'm actually live on the LP Army YouTube, so I'm not paying attention to TikTok chat as much. It's more of a informational for you guys, but I'm going to try to answer some questions, but I'm really trying to pay attention to this chat as they're hosting me tonight. So yes, but give me 1 second. Probably was a fake account. Probably. If a coin barely leaves your range and has been bouncing around for a while, will you still profit? So what do you mean by that? Do you mean leaving out the bottom of my range? So we're going to go back to the example we had on this one. This is our range. If a coin barely leaves your range and has been bouncing around for a while, will you still profit? So for example, right, let's say we're back here, right, on the chart. If the price is right here, right, imagine none of this stuff to the right side has happened yet. We're like right here in the chart. If we're right here in the chart, we set up our range to bid it, one-sided soul position, and it comes up from here, nothing's gonna change. Our soul that's set up down here to bid is not going to change at all because the coin is not going in. If it leaves here and is bouncing around, nothing happens, right? If it's in here and it's bouncing around, we get fees. If it comes down, breaks out of the bottom, and is bouncing around here, we do not get fees, and we are in trouble. We are losing money. Stupid question, but why would you do a bid ask going down on soul to get SPSN? Don't you want more soul? Okay, 1 second. I have to think about this. Stupid question, but why would you do a bid ask going down on soul to get SPSN? Don't you want more SOL just in case the token rugs? Like the price goes down towards my min price, I'm no longer getting the token. So I'm trying to think of what you're asking. So I'm going to explain from the beginning how this works, I guess. So we'll do SPSN for an example. So SPSN. So if you set up a range here, right? Bid, ask, SOL. Okay, right? So let's say we're going to actually do this in the Solana price. So we set up right here. We're setting up a bid ask, right? We want to bid this coin from, what is it? It's at 2.1 right now. The current price is 2.1. We want to set up a, going down to here would be a 50% range, right? Because it's 1.0. So this is 50% down. If we wanted to go even safer and go down another 50%, this would be 75% down right here, right? So we're having our ranges marked up. If we set up our bid-ask curve from here to here, we're going to cover this range. This is going to be our range if we do minus 50%. If we do minus 75%, this is going to be our range, and then so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and set it up. Let's just do minus 50% to keep it simple, right? I'm going to put in one SOL. We're doing one-sided, so make sure this autofill option is clicked off. We're just going to do one SOL minus 50%, right? So if this token goes down from here, then our pool is going to start converting our Solana in here. Sorry, I'm getting rid of this, sorry. Our pool, right, we have a bunch of, think about when you're opening a pool, think about them as a bunch of individual limit orders. So each of these little orders, and I'm not sure if you know this already, so if you know this, then just bear with me because I'm just going to go over it. So when you're opening a pool, each of these little bins functions as technically a limit order, right? You can think of them as limit buy orders. When you do bid ask, it makes it so the limit orders closest to the price up here, right? This is probably minus 1% down. This is probably minus 1.5% down. At this point, it's probably minus, what is it? Minus 8% down, something like that. So what it's doing, what bid ask is doing, is it's giving you less exposure to the prices right here. So when the token is down here, I'll probably get filled like what, $8 or something worth of the token at this point, and that's how much I now have in this pool. These buy limit orders, when the token goes down to here, these are going to convert into sell limit orders. So sorry, the whole point of it is when this goes down, yes, my pool is going to swap into the token. As you can see, it's already starting to do some of this. Sorry, I got distracted. So when the pool comes down, right, your Solana gets swapped to the token, you earn fees. So this is ultimately what you want to maximize. So you want, maybe not necessarily, keep in mind, you don't necessarily need all of the fees up here. You want to position yourself where your capital is not going to get wrecked if this thing dumps 50%. I'm going so wide, this is actually only a 50% range, excuse me, but I'm going wide to give myself room because this token can dump very quickly, right? In 1 hour, in 2 hours even, it can drop 50%, no problem. Like, we've seen that happen so many times. Sorry guys, in the TikTok chat. I will get to you guys later. How do you know the right time to close a pool? You're never going to know for sure. But I'm going to give you two scenarios, right? My question is, why would you hold the token on the way down? Are the fees worth it? Yes, so the thing is why would you... So it's going down, right? You're technically losing money. Your fees are not going to make up if it goes straight down, right? Because if it goes straight down, doesn't get one bounce, you're only getting tokens in, you're only getting fees in the actual token, right? Because when it goes down into your range, you get fees in the token. When it goes up in your range, you get fees in Solana. So ideally, you'd want this thing to come down to about here and just bounce back and forth forever, because then you just get unlimited fees, right? It comes down into the range, you get fees in the token. It comes back up, you get fees in Solana. It goes down, you get fees in the token. If for some reason it had unlimited volume and unlimited volatility in this price range, you'd make technically unlimited money. So going back to your question, no, you do not want it to go straight down, because then you will definitely take a loss. Let's say my one SOL position, if it dumps all the way down, my one SOL position is going to be worth around 0.6 Solana down here, not including fees. Then what softens the blow, what is beautiful about the DLMM, is that the fees that you earn when it's going down is going to soften the blow if you have to cut the loss. Like when it comes out of my range, I always take the loss. I always withdraw my pool and sell it. I have not been obeying that rule as much recently, but that's usually what I aim to do. Anyways, this is worst case scenario, right? You're going to lose your tokens, your pool is going to depreciate to 0.6. You might only get 0.1, 0.2 in fees to make up for the loss. However, let's say something like this happened, right? It's going down, you're getting fees in the token, comes up, you get fees in Solana. Okay, that's better. We're protected a little bit more now, right? Comes back down, okay, we're getting more fees in the token. Comes back up, oh, we're getting more fees in Solana, right? So like as it ranges around here, you're going to feel more confident being in the position, because now at this point, if it does something like this, you've already gotten a good amount in fees. If it goes down to here and you have to take the loss, you won't take as much of a loss. Instead of taking a 0.4 SOL loss, right, if it's worth 0.6 down here, you might only take a 0.2 SOL loss. You might be able to get out and sell for 0.8 if it does something like this. However, now we're going to weave in the question of when do I get out? So if it goes straight down, right, this is not a good idea. You're going to have to take the loss here. We've established that. Let's say something happens like this, comes down. Oh, it's getting kind of towards the bottom of my range, and we get a spike right here. This is a point where you might want to go ahead and sell and get out of the pool. At this point in the pool, you should be up, right? My one SOL position in a bid ask, I should be able to get out for either 0.1 to 0.2 Solana profit at this point if the chart does something like this. Now, ideal situation, right, is it comes down, stays perfectly in your range, and comes all the way back up, and then you can hold your fees if you think it's going higher. When you get out is going to depend on your confidence in the coin, right? If you are super bullish on this, you're like, okay, I want to hold my fees, I think this thing is going to go to 6 mil, right? Then you are going to want to not sell out on these bounces, and you're going to want to hold. But if something like this happens, right, any sort of bounce is a good time to get out. You're not always going to be able to get out on a bounce. Like for example, like right here, if it's starting to look really weak and you're like, I don't think my range is going to hold, it's okay to get out here. You're probably not going to make any money, but that's okay, because you can protect yourself and move on. It's always okay to do that. It's always okay to get out before you're out of range if you lose confidence in the token. But anyways, like I said, this is only a 50% range right here. That's why I always kind of emphasize going at least minus 75%. Especially if you're just starting, because even I've done like thousands of these positions, I still am not confident in myself to time a minus 50% drawdown. You can always go a little bit more. I see. Then isn't it better to just use a curve on the way down because you get more fees sooner? Good question. You're actually asking very good questions. So technically it's not, because think about this, right? The bid-ask curve protects you on the pool depreciation. We call it impermanent loss. I normally just say pool depreciation to give you an idea, right? You know how I said that was perfect, by the way. That was perfect. You know how I tell you how this one SOL position in a bid ask might be worth 0.6 around here? If you use a curve, right? Think about this. This is a bid ask distribution. That means the beginning of this bin might have what 0.05, right? And then the next bin might have 0.06, 0.08, probably a little bit more. And then down here you're going to start getting to maybe 0.1, and then this bottom bin might have 0.12. You see how the bid size for the Solana is getting bigger as we come down? With curve, the size is going to be more at the top. So what is this used for? What is curve used for? So curve is not going to be better. The only scenario where curve is better here is if the coin stays right here, right? Because you're going to get a lot of size. The bins up here are way bigger, so you're going to get more in fees if it hangs around here and comes back up, but you're going to experience way more in pool depreciation, because think about it. In this scenario on how the curve is set up, a lot of the Solana of your pool is getting swapped early. So from this first bin, once it drops down below here, you're going to have a lot of tokens up here, right? As the coin goes down, this bin up here isn't getting any action. It's not generating any fees once it comes below that bin. So you're just holding, you can think about it, you're just basically holding the token with a sell order at this level. So for example, if this token went all the way down through the curve, it's probably going to be worth around 0.0 or 0.3, 0.4 Solana. Bid ask pool depreciation is going to be probably worth around 0.6 here. Curve is probably going to be worth around 0.3. The only reason, like I said, the only reason where curve is going to be better is if you think it's going to hang around here and come up. But if you think it has a chance to dump down here and you want to be protected, bid ask is the way to go. Now, spot is the best of both worlds, right? It's an even playing field. The sell orders are going to be consistent all the way through. But you have to keep in mind, spot is going to have a more pool depreciation than bid ask because of how it's set up, right? Even up here, the orders up here are bigger than the orders on the bid ask curve. So your pool depreciation is going to start quicker because you're getting more size filled towards these prices. If it goes down, it's just going to depreciate more. Thank you, Dune. That's so nice of you. What's up, Reborn? Sorry, like I said, I'm not really paying attention too much to the TikTok chat. We are live on LP Army YouTube. They're hosting me, so I'm trying to pay attention to this chat more. Just for the Monday nights. Just for the Monday nights. Good, I'm glad you guys like that. I'm going to timestamp that. 37:30. 37:30. That was kind of a long rant, though. What is it? The 11th of November? What is that? Guy Fawkes or V for Vendetta? The 5th of November? Is that what it is? What's up, Phoenix? What's up, Crazy? Crypto. Nexus says crypto's cooked. I mean, Bitcoin's still above 100K, so we're chilling, I think. I don't always use previous lows. Like I said, on this token, I usually wouldn't take this tighter 50% range. It doesn't seem that tight, but I promised you, in the grand scheme of things, this thing can go down 50% super, super quickly. I'm telling you guys. And that's why minus 75%, I gave this example on last stream, and Narco actually clipped it. So he actually put out a lot of good clips today. I'm appreciative of that. But like I was saying, what's going on here? Like I was saying, you have to keep in mind, especially when you're DLMMing, that I'm stupid. That a minus 75% range, right? When you're setting it up, minus 75% is going to account for two minus 50% ranges, right? So here to here, right, is 50%. It doesn't really look like that much space, right? Like this looks like way more space, and this is because of how the charts work. Do you see how much less space there is here? But look, there are two 50% moves. So I like to say it like this, right? Let's say you start this position with a 1 sol, right? Comes down to here, it's worth 0.6 sol. It falls out of your range. You are no longer earning fees. So let's say it drops again. Your 0.6 sol is now worth 0.3 if it even drops another 50%. If you just went a minus 75% range, which doesn't seem that much bigger, you are going to be protected. Conversely, or continuously, if you go to a minus 87% range, that is going to be another 50%. Do you see how small? Do you see how small this looks? But watch this, ready? minus 50%. So minus 87% is 3 minus 50% moves downs. And watch this, ready? You want to know how much percentage it is to come back up? 800%. So you have to keep in mind that charts operate like that. Damn, the chat is popping on YouTube. What's up, fellas? Within 2 years, Bitcoin is falling, but after is where the future is. 4-year cycle. I'm not going to go into my macro thoughts because A, I'm probably not going to be right, and B, it's not the time for that. But I will say, a friend of mine, DeFi Money Sniper, who I'll shout him out because he's the GOAT, and he's always talking in the chat and helping people out. DeFi Money Sniper, goated. Feel free to give him a follow. Sorry, I should be shouting more people out. But anyways, we have been talking about how Bitcoin is so institutionally adopted now that we might not get a traditional 4-year cycle anymore. It might end up just moving something like the S&P, or it has little dips, but for the most part kind of has a trend like, or like gold or something, you know. Obviously, there's always going to be more volatility in crypto, but I don't know. Okay, we have another DLMM question. Let's say I open a bid-ask SOL with current price of 0.05, min price of 0.2. How come I'm not accumulating any tokens at 0.403? You should be. I don't know. You should be. Are you opening the range? Because look, see how like you should definitely be accumulating tokens, but keep in mind. When you're accumulating tokens, I'm talking about like, do you see how now this one SOL position now has 7 cents of SPSN? That's what I mean by accumulating. And then you're going to have your swap, your unclaimed swap fees on the right side. You're not accumulating tokens in terms of, oh, you set this up and the tokens are going to your wallet, but you're technically accumulating as in if this goes down all the way to here, I'm going to have a large percent of my one SOL position swapped to the token. It seems like there are no tokens in the lower bins near the min price. No. Okay, MBZ. There are no tokens in the lower bins near min price, right? You see how there's no tokens in here at the bottom? That's because the price hasn't gone to here yet, right? Like SPSN, for example, you see how I set up this 50% range? You see how it's at the very tip of it? But if this thing goes all the way down, let's say the price is now down here, my range is going to be like basically all the way filled up. So now it's going to, like, if it went down super hard, then this would be purple and this would be filled up. And that's how you accumulate. Is that what you're asking? Am I missing it still? Hey, Phoenix, you're joining in. It's at LP Army TV. I should probably link it in the TikTok chat. I wonder if I can post it. I'm not a bodybuilder, bro, but I appreciate it. Hey, what's up? Okay, what's up, Phoenix? Did I answer your question, MBZ? Continue on, because we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out for you. Because you're obviously already using the software, you're looking to do it, so we need to make sure that you... Hey, what's up, KF? What's up, Phoenix? No Discord, and I'm going to direct you just to the Meteora. I'm going to direct you to the Meteora page and the LP Army page because a lot of people are going to be helpful. There's a lot of resources here. You can, if you look on my Twitter and then look at my like links and stuff, we have a Telegram. It's a smaller community. It's a smaller knit community. I don't want to shill it a bunch here. I want to shill Meteora mostly. But yeah, just feel free to connect with me. I'm using a bid-ask SPSN, and it doesn't accumulate SPSN at the price below the current price. MBZ, I'm so confused. I wish you could just share your screen right now so I'd know what you're talking about. Um, 900 Savage, I'm sorry, I would be responding. We're just going over more education. I'm not necessarily trading this, and I'm not shilling this. I'm just giving examples on how to use Meteora. So I'm sorry, 900. Usually I'm more focused on TikTok chat, but right now I'm being hosted by Meteora and the LP Army, so I'm just not going to be able to look too much at the TikTok chat and give general questions or general answers. But feel free to follow me, look at my other stuff, and you should be able to learn a little bit more about what we do on this channel and what I try to teach and get you guys into. Oh, okay. So you're going. That's because you're right. Instead of going one-sided Solana and bidding it, you're putting in tokens, right? So instead of doing that, you're doing this, right? You're going to the upside, right? Am I right now? So when you're doing this, you're setting upside liquidity. So instead of, yes, you don't get any tokens because if you set it up like this, then you don't have any Solana in the pool to you don't have any Solana in the pool to get fees for. Like the way you can get it, if you want to go two-sided, this is not normally what I teach, but if you want to go two-sided, you hit autofill, right? And now you're going to have Solana on the left side to accumulate tokens. So you can go, you would only go, right? You'd only go one-sided on this side if you want to go ahead and sell out of your tokens, right? Let's say you have SPSN tokens and you want to go ahead and sell out of them. This, now you can control where your limit orders for selling are, right? So it's at 0% and then goes up to 98%. So you're going to sell out gradually out of your tokens and collect fees from here to 100% of the current token. Like I said, you can go two-sided and make it so you have exposure to the token if it goes down, and you have exposure if it goes up. You're going to be selling out of your tokens. But if you want to just hold your SPSN and collect more, I'm not saying this in any financial advice, I'm just saying if you wanted to do that, you could just hold your tokens and then bid it more with Solana if it goes down. Sorry, I didn't mean to autofill. If you wanted to just hold your tokens and not sell out right now. Like when the price goes below the current price, shouldn't I be collecting SPSN though? You're not going to collect any SPSN if you don't put Solana into the pool, because these are going to be your buy. This is going to be your buy side liquidity. Current price is 0.23. How are the fees on Meteora? Very good, Ashkar. It's going to heavily depend on what token you are in. It's going to heavily depend on what pool you join. So on a large market cap token like Uranus, for example, we can use Uranus as an example. So on Uranus, right? On Uranus, this is a $37 million market cap token. You are not going to get very much on fees on this. It's going to be more of a stable. It's going to be not as volatile, but the fees aren't going to be good. So there's a trade-off, right? You can play it safe and go into a pool that has, and I'm not saying pooling this is a bad idea even, but I'm just saying the fees aren't going to be very good on this token as opposed to something that's super sketchy like True, what I did earlier on True. It's so early, such a low market cap. The fees were very good on this, but it was way sketchier. So there's going to be a trade-off for fee generation and confidence of the token. Okay, so SPSN is 2.3, but any below, even if it's above them in price, it doesn't collect. No, you have to have, like, if you set something up like this, right? Here, I'm just going to show you, for example. If you set it up like this, you open it, right? It's bid ask. So we set this up, right? See how the minimum price is right here? We don't have any liquidity to the left of the range. So we're only going to get action if it comes up from the current price. That's why you can collect more, right? If you set up a range like below the current price. Do you see how it's blue? This is going to, when I go bid ask here, it's going to collect the tokens. So fees are good. Yes, Phoenix. But the whole like science and whatever behind it, you can know all of this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's going to come in. Token selection is really, really important. Ah, Strikeo. We will later, Strikeo. Does that make sense, MBZ? Feel free to ask any other questions. I don't mind at all. I just want to make sure it makes sense. Oh, I meant fees when transferring. Oh, they're not bad. You can set the cap on it. My minimum is 0.0005. I don't think it takes this all the time. But you can test it out with 0.001 if you're worried about it and see how it works. But I just keep it at 0.005 for now. But when I was starting with the smaller account, when I started this wallet with 1.5, I wasn't really getting eaten on fees, so it shouldn't really be. Strikeo says he set up some Christmas lights outside. That's so hype. Love Christmas lights. Damn, dude. I guess after Halloween is acceptable. Cherry pie with cider. Sounds amazing. I've been on my tea wave and candle. I actually need to light this candle if I know where the lighter is. I've been on my cozy vibe though. Strikeo, tea, candle, you name it. SPSN is a token or transaction like Sol. So SPSN, we're just doing an example on this because it's pretty strong. It's not super volatile, and SPSN is a token. South Park sucks now. It actually came from, they did an episode where they created a meme coin. I just found out, my friend had told me. On the episode, they literally had South Park. They made a meme coin, so that's why this is run so hard. And as you guys might know, in the past, South Park coins are super strong when they run. So the fact that it was mentioned in a episode is very, very major. And I probably should have capitalized on this more. I didn't know the lore of it until today. What's up, Noah? Noah, we're on the LP Army YouTube, so I'm not going to be able to look into the chat all that much. Okay, we're going to go in order. I'm kind of new here, so how do you find good coins for DLMM, and what do you see to know if it's a good token or not to enter? Good question. Okay, we're going to get to coin selection in 1 second, Smiley. Just give me 1 second to answer MBZ. Then what's the purpose of a minute price and out of range? If it goes below the current price, isn't that out of range then? Yes. So when you're setting up a one-sided token, right? Let's say you're setting it up one-sided token. The point of the minimum price is, let's say it's at the current price right now. If you didn't want to start selling out of your tokens, like up here is what? 10% up. So from here to here is 10% up. If for some reason you did not want to, wait, my bad. This is how you do it. Wait, what is going on here? Okay, let me restart this, sorry. So if you didn't want to start selling out of the token, I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, it's fine. It's just simulating my curve. So, sorry, restarting. It's at 0% right now. Let's say you don't want to sell out of the token until it's 50% up, right? Because if you keep it like this and the minimum price is 0%, as soon as it moves up at 2 to 3 or 4 or 5%, your pool is going to start selling. You're going to start selling out of your tokens. You're going to start converting to Sol if the price comes up. But let's say you're like, I don't want to sell out of any of my tokens until it pumps at least 50%. Then you can adjust the range like this, right? The minimum range is now 50%. You are not going to start selling out of your tokens until the token has reached plus 50%. So that's why the minimum price is usually at 1 when you're setting up buy side, because it's just calculating it, assuming that you want to start selling from the current price. Sorry, that was quit the pen, he says. Is it getting to me? I kind of understand, but is there a place where I can learn more and be more strategic about Meteora? Of course. There are so many resources. If you just go to the Meteora Twitter page, they have such good content. If you go to their website, they're going to have a bunch of... Oh, not that one. Here, let's go to the LP Army, actually. So, the LP Army is the community for Meteora. If you go to their website, you're going to have a lot of resources. Start with the Academy, proven strategies, whatever. And then if you have anything specific, feel free to DM me. I try to get back to everyone if you have a specific question about DLMMs. But yes, this is a good place to start. I'm not going to shill myself as much on the stream, but we're going to go to coin selection in 1 second. Do you ever buy a coin on live ever or no? I normally just set up pools on live. Very rarely am I going to buy a token. But I'm going to get into one. We're going to set up a pool here in just a second once we're done answering questions. Alright, Strikeo. We can talk about it. We can talk about it in a second. Does that help, MBZ, or no? So I'm going to go over... your average position is 30 minutes or less. Are you impatient? It really depends what you're trading. Like, I would say 30 minutes for something like this. I was in here an hour, and that was very, very short, right? I'm going to show you guys what my past strategy has been the past 3 or 4 months. So, now that Smiley Boats is asking, the way that I have found consistent profit the past few months is not necessarily doing these new pairs. I'm trying to get better at them. This is all I used to do actually around this time last year, because there were just coins popping off everywhere. The fees were great, but regardless, choosing a good coin is important. So how do you do that? Always, if you're in something long term, start from the top down when you're analyzing the meme coin. And what do I mean by that? So you're going to want to analyze, and you're going to have to use your own thoughts and perception for this, but you want to analyze whether the token is actually good. And what do I mean by that? I mean, is the meme good? So we're going to go back to 6.7. This coin is obviously cooked now. But back here, right? Back when we first saw this back here, a viewer actually explained to me why 6.7 was just going crazy. It was popping up everywhere. The next few days, I started seeing 6.7 literally everywhere. So you can see, we saw it back here. We opened up a pool on this range and got exposure to it here. This is what I consider an A+ play. Why? Because the meme is good. It's popping up everywhere. Everyone's talking about 6.7. It's not something that's static, right? It's not a static meme. A static meme is something like a single video that goes viral. Like I was using, and I've gone over these examples so much, but Drewski, right? If you guys remember Brewski, where he did like the white face or whatever, good meme, got a bunch of fucking attention the first day, ton of volume, but the issue was it wasn't novel, right? The video happened, the weekend happened. The weekend happened, and then it was done. And you can see it reflected it in the chart. Another one that's a good meme that we made a good amount of money on was the line. This thing's obviously done. These things don't last forever, but they do have these cycles where they get a spike, dump, and then another spike. And this is something where I was just seeing these kinds of memes pop up everywhere, like the lion does this, the lion doesn't concern himself with that, whatever. I was in a pool all the way down here. This was really sketchy because it wasn't getting very good feed generation, but this ended up working out very well because I had confidence in the meme. Another one, Boat Kid was super viral during the summer. I don't know if you remember this guy, but the vibe, whatever, vibe surfer guy, where he's dancing on the front of the boat. As you can see, this run lasted for a long time, and I think this is a very good coin. This was a very good coin for multi-day DLMMs. I made a good amount on this whole run up. Obviously, eventually they always go to 0. That's fine. Not always. Like Troll, for example, didn't go to 0, but that's kind of a different caliber. This is something that was new. It had a bunch of volume. So Boat Kid, 6-7, Lion, all very good. Very good examples, and I'm trying to think of maybe some other ones. Salami, this is a very old one, and this kind of strategy, like I said, hasn't been working that well for me because all of these things are getting cooked. But if you can see, right, even though this thing ended up gradually running down, the price movement in survivability it had was so good because it was a decent meme. So top-down memes are the quality of the meme, the ticker, right? The whatever the token is denoted by is very important. So that is one thing I want you guys to take away for sure. So finding good long-term pools, like Clanker was actually a good one that I got out of too early. This is kind of my graveyard of dead coins. We don't need to look at that. Santa is actually a very good coin that has just been surviving very well recently. So tokens that have these long-term, right, the volume is organic. We're getting random spikes. It's not super noisy like some of the farmy looking tokens. I'm kind of ranting and not giving any solid instructions, but hopefully you're catching kind of the vibe of what tokens I'd look for in a multi-day pool. No, Strikey, I did not. TikTok chat, I'm going to get to you guys in a second. We're probably going to be live for a little bit longer on the Meteora channel, maybe 20 or 30 minutes. Thank you, MBZ. That's very nice. Very nice of you. How do you tell the real CA from the fake? Is it always just the top search, or usually you're going to want to see the one that has the most volume? Like, I'm trying to think of maybe a farm token. I can give you an example maybe of a token that is not the real one. And you can just kind of normally tell based on... Right, this is going to be a fake jelly. Maybe down here is a little bit better. Right, this is obviously a fake token, fake USCR token. But anyways, hey, happy birthday, Vince. Everyone wish Vince a happy birthday. Happy birthday, brother. So do we need like a good meme that lasts per days and not fast memes like we do with DLMM? It's hard because recently some of my longer term plays haven't been coming out. There hasn't been too many good coins that are surviving a lot recently. So my previous strategy is not as good, like the one I just told you about, finding a top-down meme. Those are very good in good markets where we're getting runners that last over a few days. But it's been hard. It's been hard recently. That's why I'm kind of migrating to some of these newer pairs. So I can't give you an answer to that. I'm trying to adjust to the market conditions as well. I really am, because I like round tripped like 20 or 30 soul in October from not getting out of multi-day positions that I should have gotten out of long ago. But PFP, for example, this was a coin that if you were in a pool, it sucks being in here because it's not really doing much. But if you were in a range from here to here, would have been very, very good. Like, look at all of the price movement here. This is an example of a top-down meme that would have performed really well. And we were actually LPing it all the way back here. But as it starts to fade off here, you want to be careful. And not to get into the TA aspect of things, but as you can see, as we mapped it, TA is not the end-all be-all. But you have to be aware and conscious of support and resistance because they exist because of the human psychology, right? As you can see, it's forming this base here. people are looking at this previous low, people are looking at this previous low, people are looking at this previous low. This is kind of a support line in itself, right? And once it starts dropping down below here, people are going to start getting worried. They're going to be like, okay, this is the last point for it to hold, right? This last point. As it breaks down from here, it creates a whole entirely new range, because this is where people start panicking and they're like, okay, it's broken down, I need to get out. But down here, right, a whole new range. So it would have been ideal, really would have been, to be in this from even the 15th of October. If you had a range wide enough, this is picture perfect, and then you get the final exit pump. So this is an example of an A+ meme. I didn't play it perfectly. I played it earlier, back when it was back here. I took my profits here and got out. But this would have been a good play. That is more of a multi-day, long-term. Not using Axiom or GMGN is crazy. Brother, I just use Dex Screener because it has very good aesthetics. If I'm in a short-term pool or something, I'm going to use Axiom or GMGN. But like I said, we're looking at longer-term pools on Dex Screener, so I don't need the quick order flow updates as heavily as when I was in like True earlier. Like, I was definitely not on Dex Screener for this token. I'll tell you that. But how do you know ahead of time PFP was going to range that long within the high-low price range? You did. If I knew it was going to do something like this, then I would have done it. Are you talking about how did I know that it was going to range up here that long? I didn't. But this thing was so strong at the beginning, right? It ran up to 6 mil. Clearly a runner. It was a good meme. I classified this probably an A+. It probably gets an A+ in my book, because it was the first time it's been done and has run and had community mindshare. And this banner is so good. Like, it was a good meme, right? So that back here, as it's dropping down, I didn't set my range this short, obviously. My range instead was something like, I don't really want to change the color. My range was something like here to, it's probably 6 mil to 1 mil is probably it. So 6 mil to 1 mil, I'd say, was probably my range. So it was very wide, right? I wasn't in danger as it comes down to here. And then I got my price movement. It was looking like, I don't know why I didn't hold, but I just was comfortable with my profit, so I got out here. And then I continued to watch it. And I can't remember exactly. It's possible that I was still in this and decided to cut it and get out here. But I think I ended up getting out. I think I did get out on one of these spikes, if I remember correctly. In your vids, you seem to know how they are going to move ahead of time. I don't know for sure. I just have I have a decent idea of how low they can rug to, and I get that wrong a lot too. Like, I don't know. This is something that's not going to rug instantly from here, most likely. Not to say it can't, but this, when it's at 6 mil, it's not likely to rug straight down to 100k, because it's a good meme. If it was like super bundled, if it had been done a bunch of times, etc., I would be a lot more scared. But this was an original meme. It had a good run. It had organic volume. So this is something that I can see not dumping super hard instantly, if that makes sense. But I never know what's going to happen ahead of the time. Like, when I set up my range, like from here to here, right? When I set up my range from here to here, very well, it could have just gone up and I would have gotten no action. It could have done something like this. But I just I know how charts work in a certain way, where after they have a run up, if it's not a very strong market condition, this thing's probably not running to 50 mil, right? It's a good meme, so it's not going to rug to 0, but I'm like, it makes a lot of sense that it did something like this, right? Sold off, got still some spikes, but the market just isn't there yet. And this bottoming area is just picture perfect. I wish I was in this. Like the way they might rug. The only way I'm able to know what might rug is by quality of the meme, by the volume, right? Like on Dege, for example. I don't know if this is the one you're referring to, but on Dege, when we're up here, this volume, this run up here, it was being pushed on TikTok, pushed on a bunch of social media. And this volume here, it's very noisy to me, as opposed to something like PFP. You see how PFP is a lot more sporadic, and they're different time frame charts, so you can't see perfectly. But do you see how the volume is way more randomly spiky and whatnot, and Dege is very moundy. It's very gradual. I don't really like the look of that. And for example, like Rizzo Ween, which was getting shilled a ton in my chat. Sorry, TikTok. I'm gonna get to you guys in a second. I promise. We're gonna be done a little bit on the LP Army channel. But Dege, I mean Rizzo Ween, for example, same kind of deal. This actually has a little bit better looking volume. But this little like noisy run up, I mean, I just knew, I've seen this story before. Same thing with Dege, same thing with Rizzo Ween, same thing with VWA. But no, I don't always know what's going to happen unless I know. Like, I knew the same people are coordinating all of these charts. Maybe not Rizzo Ween, but for example, VWA, same kind of deal. Gradual run up, rug, etc. And then the new one that we're actually going to probably open a pool on is Doge 1. This one's getting pushed on social media as well. And keep in mind, I don't love this. I would never ever touch this chart, but I know that there's an agenda on this. I know that people are promoting this on TikTok. I'm 99% sure it's the same guy who did Dege. I'm 99% sure it's the same guy who did USCR. If you've seen USCR being thrown around. So even though I know the agenda, they're gonna run it up and rug it. I'm willing to bid Doge 1 actually. I'm gonna set up a pool right now. That was on my to-do list. Just because I know the team behind it. I don't know the team, but I know what they're gonna do. Okay, sorry, I just need to take a break from yapping. So anyways, we're going to set up a pool. You can kind of see how I do it here. I'm going to grab the CA. I'm going to go to Meteora. I'm going to go to Home. I'm going to paste the ticker. And then we're going to see what kind of pools we have on them already. So a lot of people ask that are beginners, which pool do I choose? Just use the one that's getting the most volume and has the most TVL. That's usually your best bet. Just keep it simple. You can get fancy once you become more experienced, but just choose the one that has the most TVL to start. I just spit on my hand. Sorry. But anyways, so I'm actually going to go one sole spot here. We're going to go down to, what's the range looking like? The bottom of it is 1 mil. I don't think it's going to go back to 1 mil, to be honest. I think 2 mil is going to be roughly the bottom. So we're going to go to 2 mil. What is that? Roughly 70, 80%, something like that. 2.12 divided by 7.77. So 27% down. So yeah, roughly 73%, but we're going to go wider than that. We're going to go minus 80%. Minus 80%. Going to add the liquidity. I'm going in one sole spot to start, but keep in mind I'm going to layer. The fuck? I'm going to layer bid ask on top of it. What exactly is a pool? Okay, then we can get more into that in a little bit. So I guess the last thing we can do, I'm gonna put 4 sol in here, by the way, as bid ask. So you see how I'm going 1 sol spot, 4 sol bid ask. That's going to make it so the majority of my curve is going to be bid ask. What's up, DeFi King? So Meteora hosts allows you to open liquidity pools. What is a liquidity pool? Traditionally, liquidity pools are automated, so they usually rebalance, right? So a traditional liquidity pool is going to have Solana on one side. Think about a virtual cloud, right? And a cloud on the blockchain, right? This pool has Solana on one side and tokens on the other side. That means when people come to the pool, think of it as a market. When people come to the market, they can either give Solana into the pool and receive the token, or they can take the token, give it into the pool and receive Solana. Obviously, this is going to change. This is going to affect the price, right? If you go in and you swap a bunch of the token for Solana, you're going to take the price down. You're essentially selling, right? But if you go in and you put in Solana into the pool, then you're going to take tokens out. That's just how they're a market, right? They're market making software, but think of it as a market where you go. Now, when you're opening Meteora has revolutionized the game. They have created something called DLMM. DLMMs. So DLMMs allow you to control what price ranges you are setting up your liquidity. In a traditional AMM, an automated market maker, it's going to automatically rebalance you. You don't really have say on where you're placing your liquidity. But here, think of a pool as a bunch of little individual limit orders, right? I put in 5 SOL into this pool, and it's spread out evenly between the current price and minus 81%. So when I'm opening a pool, I'm fragmenting my Solana into a bunch of different price points that when the price goes into my pool and moves around, I am getting fees, because by providing a liquidity pool, that means that other people are coming into your pool and swapping through your liquidity. You are able to charge them. Meteora allows you to charge them. For example, on this pool, it's going to charge whatever order comes through my pool a 2% tax. So that's where these unclaimed swap fees come from. I have $1 now of the coin, and I've gotten 6 cents in fees because people are using my Solana. My Solana is out there for sellers to sell into. You didn't understand the layer thing you did after opening the pool. Okay, so right now Meteora allows you, it doesn't allow you to make custom ranges. It doesn't allow you to make custom ranges. So like how I was saying, you can distribute your liquidity in spot, bid ask, and curve. I layer it on because I want to make a hybrid curve, right? Like if I want to just open bid ask, I can do this, put in 1 SOL, and now I have this bid ask curve. But if I want to go half and half, if I don't want just bid ask, if I want some spot in here, I can layer the spot on, right? In my current position, you go here and you can add in more liquidity if you want. So right here, I would add in spot. Now I have 1 SOL spot, 1 SOL bid ask layered on. And that's just to give me a little bit more exposure to the current prices. Strikio is so excited. In a little bit. We've almost covered everything we need to on this stream. Give me like 10 more minutes to answer some questions. Does that answer your question, Smiley? I need water. Where's my water bottle? Alright, last 10 minutes are for Q&A. So we're just gonna hang out and I'll answer some more questions real quick. If you guys go subscribe to the LP Army TV and like this video right now, I'll give you a follow back on TikTok. It does Smiley good. I'm actually going to close this though, because I don't want to be that exposed. That was just for an example. So you see how I closed the position? Because I don't want any exposure from this pool, and I did get some swapped in, I'm just going to go ahead and get out of it. Even though I do have this pool open and I'm fine having some exposure to this token, I'm just going to show you how I would close the position. So let's say it falls out of my range or I'm ready to get out. I withdraw it. If you saw how I did that, I get the token address, paste it in Jupiter, and just sell out. I just swap on Jupiter, and that's how I exit a... NBC, what are some good things to remember when DLMM are good practices? Obviously, like I said, token selection. And then you want to really be aware of your range, and it actually helps when you're in a range to map it out. So how would you map out? Oh, I need to get out of this. So how would you map out a range? So you see on the Meteora UI, there is going to be a range in Solana here. If you go to the token like we were doing and you can see here, change the price to be denominated in Solana, then it's going to correspond with your Meteora range. So right here, 1.8 to 8.85, right? So 1.8 to 8.85, just remember that. So 1.8 is where our range starts, right here. 1.8 to, what did we say? 8.85. 1.8 to 8.85. Am I doing this right? Yes, I am. Okay. So 8.85 is down to here. So that is the range. Between here and here is our range. And that gives you kind of a visual representation. And you can just see how you can see where you're going to be in trouble when you do that. So you don't transfer off Phantom, so I need Jupiter with Meteora. Yes, KFN. That's a good practice to have. Hey, what's up, DeFi? Nothing right now, Strikeo. I don't know if I responded to you or not. Alright guys, a few more minutes, and then we are heading off. You can feel free to come hang out on the TikTok stream. It's going to be more relaxed. I'm not going to be yapping as much information, but I wanted to make sure that we covered a lot of tutorials, questions, and educational material on stream. So it's okay to DLMM single-sided soul on the way down just to try to catch the fees towards the bottom as it bounces around. Yes, in MBZ, the good thing about single-sided soul is that you're going to be way more protected. Like, for example, on Santa, right? Just one more example. Let's say you do single-sided soul. You are super protected if you do something like this. Because on something like this, right? You are only going to get exposure if it comes down, and you're not even going to get too much exposure at this point. You're going to get even more exposure as it goes down. So this is just going to protect you. This is going to protect your pool average price bias, right? Or average cost basis. If I set up this range and it goes straight up from here, nothing is going to change. I'm not going to gain. I'm not going to lose anything. But this way, you are only getting exposure if it comes down, which is going to protect you in the long term. KFN, I use, keep in mind, I do use Phantom, but I interact with Jupiter and Meteora. Oh my gosh, Strikeo's in the main chat. Don't terrorize it, please, Strikeo. Strikeo, like and subscribe, please. Plox. You're an OG if you know what Plox means. I won't say anything more. But yes, MBZ, that is usually what the strategy is, right? Like if it did something like this, comes like this, comes like this, comes like this, like you can get out here for profit. Obviously, ideal situation is it comes down, bounces around super deep, and gets a pump all the way back up. That's super, super ideal, but it's not always going to work out like that. So it's up to your discretion when you want to exit, when you want to take profit. But don't I lose myself if it goes too low? Yes. And that is when you just need to go ahead, get out of the position, cut the loss, and move on. Like if it goes... Oh my gosh. Thank you, KFN. Or Phoenix, I should say. Like I was saying, like, you know how it's like the one soul? Like if you had it 50%, and you have one soul here, bid ask. At the bottom, it's going to be 0.6, right? It's going to be worth around 0.6. But your hope is that you made enough in fees that it's going to soften the blow of taking the loss if it comes out of range and you have to get out. You never want it to break down below your range. I should mention that. You want it to bounce around here, survive, and come back up. Alright guys, we're coming up on an hour and a half. I'll stay for one more question and then we are going to head off. Feel free to drop me a follow on Twitter if you'd like. You can find me at CrimeXBT. no period, and I will follow all you guys back. But yeah, just let me know. If I don't follow you, just DM me. I usually just follow back whoever has mutuals, but if you're coming from TikTok. So basically a stop loss. Yes, but the thing is like the hard part about LPing is that there's not an automatic stop loss yet. So when it goes out of range, you have to be disciplined, or else you can get wrecked. I mean, I'm not gonna say like many a time, right? I've taken a big loss because it's come out of range, and I'm just praying. I'm praying for it to go back up, and it doesn't go back up, and I end up taking an outsized loss that I could have just avoided by just getting out here and moving on. You know what I mean? Thank you, MBZ. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all your questions. Very good questions, everyone. Hope you guys learned something. No Strikeo, no more questions. But guys, thank you for tuning in. Feel free to go, and King, I got you, bro. Feel free to go drop LP Army. The Met_LP Army is going to be a good place to learn. Meteora.ag. This is a platform we use, but they also have tons and tons and tons of learning material, a very good community. You will not be in bad hands joining the LP Army. So thank you guys. Tune in next week, same time for the same stream, and DM me if you have any questions. I'm always here to help you out. Of course, thanks.